Today I want to talk about criticism. And I want to critique the critic. And to take a closer look at what it means when we criticize people and when we're judged and when we're criticized. And to see the susceptibility and the vulnerability of the judge and the critic. So today, we're going to sit on the other side of the table and we're going to judge the judge or criticize the critic. And that will help you understand that there's no criticism that has any real merit. And there's no interpretation that stands on anything solid. So stick around and let's criticize the critic. You may feel that your sense of self-worth is tied up in what people think of you. My friend Paula told me one time, she said, "You're not very affected by flattery, are you?" I said, "Not really. And nor am I one to dole out a lot of compliments to people or praise. Because I know that criticism and praise or praise and blame are two sides to the same coin. We often praise God and blame human beings, which immediately creates a duality between those two seemingly separate things. And in the West, we develop this mindset that God does all the good things and the humans do the bad things. And so we criticize ourselves for being sinful. And the word sin simply means separate. But there's no difference between the critic and the artist. The artist creates something and the critic and you sees how faulty it is. You can say that you are this self-judging creature. That you can look at the things that make you who you are on a physical level. You can judge your own cooking, your own body, your own voice, and say whether or not you like it or think it's any good. But your criticism is just as susceptible as you are. Every bit of advice, every bit of criticism, every judge has to pretend like they're perfect, you see. And they hide behind the rubrics. There's a set of rubrics that we use. Kind of like at a dog show, there's an ideal breed. And so the judge has to create an image of the ideal breed and compare that dog to that particular, what we call an archetype. But there is no archetype to you. And there's no archetype to what you produce. So when you're in your own category, it's hard to find a merit to judge you. There's nothing foundational to a critique from another person. especially at the creative level, when we're talking about aesthetics, which is what you are. You are an aesthetic expression of the universe. And this, in the same way that a tree is an aesthetic creation or an expression of the universe. And the trees I'm looking out here are all wonky and crooked. And they've got issues. But they are perfect expressions of themselves within their own domain. So, because there are no two trees exactly alike, it's really hard to set up an archetype. What is the archetype? What is the perfect tree to compare it to? And so we do this with Jesus, right? And Mohammed, and these people that seem to be perfect. The Virgin Mary, for example. So we create these little, what I call plastic figurines, that stand in judgment of us mere mortals. So these images of these gods or demigods or perfect figures looking down on us and judging us, they're simply figments of our imagination. Holier than thou, less sinful. And there's just no such thing. And so religion is based off of the idea that we have an archetype. We have this perfect person that no one can live up to, which makes the religion unworkable. Because the second in command has already been taken. And so the rest of us are gathering crumbs under a table. We can never live up to that expectation. So in the West, we have this problem of thinking that Jesus is the second in a triune God. And, well, we can't get in that circle. That makes an us versus them. And I can't live up to the perfection of a plastic figurine who does no harm. And see, that, for me, that doesn't sit well. To think that maybe Jesus didn't fornicate or have an erection or poop or lie or steal or bend the truth a little bit or struggle with some kind of issue of being a real human being. See, that's what makes us a real human being, is our aesthetic imperfections, which in a sense are perfect because there's no category called you. You're in your own category. And so the way that you express yourself is perfect. The way that you move is perfect. And the way that you are is perfect. And the way that we the lens that we looked at this through is through the lens of seeing the universe as a whole. What's the other universe that we compare to get a standard? Well, the so-called other universe is a conceptual one. This universe is fucked up, but the perfect one, wait a minute. The perfect one is made up. The Son of God is made up. The perfect Virgin Mary is made up. Muhammad is made up. The precious Lamb, the triune boss, the separate one. All of separation is made up. So how can you critique what's essentially untouchable? You're in a lane all by yourself. There are no other universes, no other people. There's no opposition, no enemy, no one to praise, no one to blame. You are the incomparable truth. So, when you're criticized, somebody has made up a figment of you, the you that should be, you see. And so, well, this is what you should be. This is how you should have done this. When what you are doing in the present moment is untouchable. Now, we have to understand that the critic is a figment too. So if we criticize the critic, we've got a ghost criticizing a ghost. It's best that we keep our mouths shut. And we don't look at ourselves through the lens of a concept, but that we see ourselves as living, breathing truth. Perfect expression of life itself. And that you can't make up a story about who you are and judge it against an alternate reality. There is only you. You are the reality expressing in the present moment. And if you don't make up stories about yourself, there's no critic. There's no praise. There's no production. There's no performance. See, it's the story we get a hold of. The story of me, the biography. Let me criticize the biography. What I said, what I did, what I look like. More stories. At some point, you have to be the living, breathing expression of perfection. Because there is none beside you. There is no other you to compare it to. There is no parallel. There's not even an alternate story. It's like, you remember those old books in elementary school where at the end of the page, if you wanted the character to do one thing, you could go to page 15 and skip something, or if you wanted them to do something else, you go to page 20, and then the story divaricates. There's nothing like that. Your story has no diversions or detours. Your expression has no other. You cannot criticize what's priceless and unique. Unless you're criticizing a version of that told in a story. I happen to believe that we are all expressions of a singularity. You're just like the universe. There's no other universe to compare yourself to. So how can you critique it? Or be affected by someone's critique? The standard that you're compared to is a phantom. How can you be compared to a ghost? The critic has to make up a version of you called an archetype, or a should-be version, and put them side by side and say which one's better. And usually it's the version in their head that's better. You can't be better or worse. All you can be is the perfection of truth, which is who you are. And the critic is fudging a little bit, making some shit up. So, no more being affected by it. You're in a class, all unto your own. There's a lot of freedom in that. My name is Ryan. I hope that you enjoyed these insights. Thank you for watching. Please check out my blog. It's called mymorningmotivator.com, or check out one of my books on Amazon. We'll see you next time.